All right, just want to make sure everybody can hear me before we get started. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. All right. If you have your orange oil, go ahead and smell that. It's really good for absorbing and learning. Or if you have your transformation oil, that's a good one because all the information I'm going to be sharing tonight is pretty transformative. And for those of you here who are in my Sacred Shift group, this is the path you've been on, you know all of this. There might be a little new information, and the more you hear it, the more absorbable it is. So, all right, let's get started. So my name is Allie Phillips, and I'm going to talk about how to shift and thrive in changing energies. And I'm going to talk about exactly what does that mean and what is going on. So as you can see, I have some very interesting credentials. I've been an attorney for 27 years. I have 7 different certifications in the energy, health, and wellness business. I specialize in pets and cats and crystals. And if I could just live my life with those 3, I'd be super happy. And oils. And so everything I'm going to talk about today has nothing to do with diagnosing, treating, curing, or preventing any disease. We're talking energy. All right. So as I said, I've been an attorney for 27 years, and I have been studying energy and frequency since 2005, when I had this big aha moment in St. George, Utah, of all places. And, you know, we all know that we follow these man-made laws. You know, don't speed, you know, don't do bad things to people. You know, we have these man-made laws, but we are also influenced by what I call universal frequency laws. And whether you know it or not, you're being influenced by these. And I'm going to talk about all these things that are happening that are really changing the energies of the world that we live in. And I think a lot of us recognize that that is happening without really knowing what is going on. So in December of 2020, I launched the Sacred Shift. Okay, and you guys are going to get a window into what we talk about in this group. And at the end, you're more than welcome to join if you want to. But I want to give you a lot of information and a lot of value that I know you can just take and just go. And if you want to join us, great. But you can take this information and it can dramatically change your life for the better. And, you know, so I had been working on this concept for a couple of years. And what I wanted to do was really pull together all of my certifications that I'm expertly trained in and certified to teach. And, you know, after utilizing all of these techniques to really learn how to flow with energy and not force it, I tapped into some pretty high potential energies. And that's when the Sacred Shift was born. And, you know, so I want to share what we talk about in this group. And you're going to learn some very helpful information that you can do right now to really flow and stop forcing, to help you get unstuck and to shift into your highest potential. But let's start with kind of the beginning of what we need to look at. So we have been in an energy shift since at least 11/11/11, November 11th of 2011. Some believe that it started before then, but that is definitely when it really kicked into gear. And if you've ever studied numerology, numbers are very powerful and they're very instructive. So no doubt in my mind that this energy shift really kicked off 11/11/11. And some people call it the Ascension or the Great Awakening or the Golden Age. But what is really happening, and feel free to comment in the chat about this. We question everything a lot more than we did 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. There's a war on truth. We do not know what's true anymore, right? You know, we're pushing back against perceived restrictions on freedom. And I use the word perceived. perceived restrictions on freedom. And so I look at everything that's happened in the last 2+ years with the thing that shall not be named. I don't like to call it by its name. I don't give it energy. And I started looking at, why now? Why a pandemic now? Why not 5 years ago? Why not 20 years in the future? Why now? That's the sort of stuff that I look at. I look at all of the tragedies happening, all of the protests, all of the mass killings, all of the division, all of the response to everything. And I ask, why now? What is going on? And I start looking kind of at the backstory, and I look behind it, and I look at the energy. And, you know, many people in the healing and spiritual world predicted that this awakening would really happen in 2020. You know, 2020 is hindsight, to see the path that we created and to reevaluate whether we want to continue on this path. And I think a lot of people are saying, no, we don't want to continue on this path. We were literally given a timeout. Like Mother Earth is talking to her children and saying, y'all went off your path in such a bad way. Mama here is giving you a timeout. Sit at home. Sit at home for 3 weeks or 3 months or 6 months or 2 years. Sit. And I want you to think. I want you to think about your path. And this is what I saw with a lot of people. And so there's many things that are happening that are coming together to create kind of this upheaval and this change that we're all seeing, and maybe you are feeling it. And we're being bombarded with a lot of energies to upgrade us as human beings. I mean, the earth is constantly evolving, and we get to evolve right along with her. We can't live on this rock floating in space and not be influenced by her. And you know, this upgrade, you know, like anything, is kind of like going to the gym. You know, when you work out, you know, initially it hurts, and the more you do it, the better it feels. And so the more that you can understand about these energies, the better you're going to feel. Okay. You know, have you ever done something that was painful, but on the other side of it, you were a better person? Yeah. I mean, I just think about childbirth. Oh my gosh. Everybody's screaming. and then there's a beautiful baby. So yeah, that's kind of what's happening. We're literally being birthed into a new reality. And we are clearing out millions of years of ancestral disharmonic energy. It's a lot of dark energy that is being given permission to surface so that we can let it go, because it's been buried. It's been buried for a long time. And it comes out as ancestral rage, you know, and it's really coming out as oppressive, controlling energy against feminine energy, because we have really shifted into a feminine archetypal age, because we have moved into the age of Aquarius, and that is a matriarchal energy. And, you know, and I find that, you know, people who fight against everything that's going on and try to, quote, get back to normal, or they get sucked into these negative news cycles, you know, and all this negative stuff on social media, they're going to continue to feel the discord, the anger. They're going to have more to complain about and more to strike out against. But those who actually shift with these energies and realize that everything is connected, they take a different approach that flows and not fights the energies. And trust me, I'm a fighter. I was a prosecutor. I've been an advocate, you know, for children, women, and animals the entire 27 years of my legal career. I get it about speaking up and fighting. This is different. I'm talking energy. I'm talking the energy that you have within you. Because we're receiving DNA energetic upgrades as the earth evolves, and we really have to evolve with the earth. And all these upgrades come with specific things that happen, and I'm going to talk about those. Because when you can raise your vibration and accept these new energies, you see what's happening in the world, but you don't get sucked into it. You see the chaos, but you don't live it. You see the tragedies and you find a higher, better way to help. And, you know, you'll be able to help others simply by your energy and your lifestyle and your being, like who you are. And simultaneously, when you ground to earth, you ride this roller coaster with ease because you're grounded to her as she is changing. Okay. So what are these energies that are influencing us? I'm going to go through all of these because it's not just one thing. And I may not even be covering everything, but these are the big ones that I have noticed over the last 17 years that I've really been looking at all of this. Because, you know, everything is made of energy, and we are highly influenced by energies. And energies can impact us from unusual locations. Who has trouble sleeping during a full moon? You have trouble settling down and falling asleep. I'm one of those people. We're highly influenced by the moon. We're highly influenced by the sun. You know, have you ever had a day in the past few years where you were angry or sad or agitated or just really off and you had no idea why? You're likely influenced by everything that's going on around you. Because even if we're sitting at home, even if you're isolating yourself at home, you're still influenced by everything that's happening out there. Because energy is energy. It's neither created nor destroyed. It just changes forms. And so all the energy going around the planet is eventually going to make a sweep. It's going to make a sweep past you. So all the bombs dropping in Ukraine actually makes a sweep around the earth. And it's actually showing up as volcanoes and earthquakes in other parts of the earth because Mother Earth is pretty peeved. The bombs are being dropped in her. And so she's literally blowing it out the other side. We all are in that energy. We're influenced by the universe, not just this planet, but all the planets and all the other universes. You know, we live on this planet, we are in the Milky Way galaxy, and it's part of 45 galaxies with 2,500 neighboring galaxies. We're not alone, okay? We're not alone. We are this little blip that is being bombarded by so much energy, yet we can't see it, but we feel it. Some feel it strongly, others feel nothing. Those that feel nothing typically are very numb to it because of technology, because of Wi-Fi, because of a busy lifestyle. But we're all impacted, and we can see it in how people respond because everything is energy. Everything is made up of frequency. And so let me go through these things that are influencing us, okay? So if you've never heard of the Schumann Resonance, the Schumann Resonance is the Earth's heartbeat. The Earth has its own frequency. And the Schumann Resonance, discovered by Dr. Schumann, has been tracked since about 1952. And there are these detection meters, about 6 of them around the planet, that are literally measuring the heartbeat every second of the day. So I follow a couple of different websites, and I want to show you what happens. So the base frequency of the Earth is 7.83 hertz, which is basically the base frequency of a healthy human body. Coincidence? No, it's not. It's why when we're connected to the Earth and we put our feet on her, we feel so good. When you go walk on the beach, you feel amazing. When you're walking in the woods, you feel great. So when we are synchronized with the Earth, we feel fantastic. Well, her frequency has been spiking and crashing since January 2017. And here's a snapshot of the beginning of the pandemic. Because for years, you know, I've been in these chat groups where we talk about, are we influenced by the Schumann Resonance, or does the collective of humanity influence the Schumann Resonance? I believe it's both. There's no way that we cannot be influenced by it. There's just no way. If there's an earthquake, we feel it, we're influenced, okay? So we are absolutely influenced by this. But I believe that we absolutely influence it back. So if you look at the top screen, you see the early parts of the pandemic when the lockdowns were happening, and you start seeing spikes. The spikes start at the top of the grid, and the larger the spike, the deeper it goes. I wish it was inverted where we saw it going up, but this grid, you see it going down. When it's white, it's really intense. Blue is calm. Green is it's starting to churn up some energy, but the white is intense. And when it's wide across, that means it happened for a long span of time. Okay, you can see the white is starting. And I went back months and months and months before, very little of the white spikes, very little. But in March, all of a sudden it starts going crazy. So in April, if you look at the bottom scale, there were 2 global meditation events that happened. On April 5th, Reiki masters from all around the world were sending healing to the earth. And the Schumann Resonance spiked for a full day. That's a lot. That's like sticking your finger in a socket for a whole day. It spiked. I don't think that's a coincidence. On April 18th and 19th, Dr. Bruce Lipton, who is a cellular biologist, he wrote The Biology of Belief, which I talk about in all of my crystal classes. He held a 2-day global meditation summit where on the hour, every hour, no matter where you lived, you meditated. You sent healing to the earth. So always there was just all this healing happening all over the earth. And look what it did. I mean, it dramatically spiked the frequency. So I track the Schumann resonance, and it coincides with a lot of events. Okay. So I want to show you, because I was working on this morning, and it's like, Allie, do you really want to go here with what I'm about to show you? And it's like, yes, I want to go here. Because I don't know how you are feeling about the mass violence that is happening in the world, like with wars, mass shootings, just the atrocities that are happening all over the world. I've mapped a couple of them to the Schumann resonance. Did the Schumann resonance cause it? I don't know. But when there is a spike in the earth, if people are not grounded, and if they have not been working on themselves and really working on raising their energy simultaneously, it doesn't feel good. You feel edgy, angry, you have outbursts. I mean, you may have felt this in yourself. You can't sleep, you feel edgy, you're nervous. All of a sudden you have health issues that are unexplained. And I feel like a lot of people are literally going crazy because of this. Let me show you something. And I really don't want to offend anybody, but I just find this too, it's eerie. It's eerie. All right, here is the Schumann resonance from last month, from May. And as you can see, it was spiking. There was very little that was at the normal 7.83 hertz. So the normal 7.83 hertz is kind of down here where that blue line is. And look at all these meters. I mean, there are 6 different meters that are measuring, and they're high. I mean, this spike right here is over 40 hertz, going from 7.83 to 40 hertz. That's a lot. That's a lot. So this one in particular coincides with the mass shooting in Buffalo. This one right here, Uvalde. And then this was yesterday. We got blasted yesterday. This is what I look at. And in my mind, this is how I get behind what's happening, Because don't we want to know why are things happening? Why is all this stuff happening? Why does life seem to be getting crazier, harder? Fill in the word. Don't we want to know why? This is what I do. I start researching, okay, what is going on that could literally cause the collective of humanity to be divided, to be angry, to have these sort of things happen. Why now? Why not 20 years ago? Why now? What is going on? This is what I do. This is what I look at. Doesn't mean I can solve what's going on, but at least I can look at it and it's like, okay, start teaching more people about this. Because one by one, if we are in control and managing our energy and doing everything that we can do to be grounded and to raise our energy at the same time, that impacts all the people around us. And this is why a lot of healers, a lot of teachers, a lot of people are coming out and just sharing and teaching what they know, because this is what's going to shift society, which I'll talk about in a minute. Second thing, solar flares. Yay! All right. So solar flares are fun. So technically, we have been in a solar minimum. So the solar cycle happens in 11-year cycles. And we technically don't even get to a solar maximum until 2023. And we have been blasted for the last year. So what happens is when there is a solar flare, especially if it hits the part of the earth where we live, it really can rise up a lot of anger. It absolutely messes with technology. I mean, it messes with aeronautical systems, and airplanes have to be very careful about where they fly. It messes with electrical grids, computer grids, I mean, you name it. But in people, I have found that it coincides with mass protests, mass violence, because it rises up anger and rage. It's hot. You're literally getting blasted. And it can take a few days for a solar flare to reach us, depending on how big it is. There's 5 different classes of solar flares. And we have been in a solar minimum, but we're getting blasted. So I don't even want to know what's going to happen when we hit solar maximum next year. So the biggest solar flare, one of the largest ones that we had last year, coincides with the George Floyd murder in May of 2020. Or it happened 2 years ago in May of 2020. Last year, there was a huge one on July 3rd of 2021, and that coincides with Hurricane Elsa. But today I looked and it's like, how are we doing this year? Oh my gosh, X-class flares are the biggest. And look at those dates. April 20th, May 10th, March 30th, May 3rd, April 30th, April 17th. Holy moly, we have been blasted. We have been blasted since March 30th. And it's not letting up. So this is another contributing factor. Again, is it going to help us stop wars and violence and mass anger? If people know how to handle it, but it starts giving me a why behind the scene. All right, let's talk about planets going in retrograde. How many of you love it when planets go in retrograde? You're like, yeah, Mercury retrograde, yeah, bring it on, peace, man, let's go for it. So, you know, planets go retrograde all the time. I mean, usually about once a year. Mercury does it 3 times a year. And Mercury retrograde is probably the most popular of them all. It gets a totally bad rap. We're in Mercury retrograde right now, okay? So the intensity of these tend to be extreme, but if you know what they are, you can understand the influences and the lesson. You know, I'll tell you, we had an easy first half of 2022, and now we're going into retrograde season, okay? So it's picking up with intensity. And, you know, and I always tell the Sacred Ship group. I'm like, look, if you want to look at this like a catastrophe, then it's going to be. But if you can see this for the lessons that we are being given, it's amazing. It's amazing. So let me just go through these real quick. So we're in Pluto retrograde right now, and it takes 225 years for Pluto to go through all the zodiac signs. Well, it just returned to its home sign of Capricorn. Pluto and Capricorn, BFFs. They love each other. And the last time it was in the position that it is right now, the US signed the Declaration of Independence. Talk about radical transformation and the creation of a country. So for the US, we're going to be in upheaval as we find a new way in the new energies. And I think we see it. Okay, I think we see it. What I like about knowing this stuff is it doesn't fill me with angst. It actually lets me know, oh, you know what? It's just Pluto retrograde. It's okay. We're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. Do not catastrophize it. Okay, so you know, Pluto is the planet of transformation and upheaval, and it's breaking down things that no longer work. That's good. We don't want to keep doing things that don't work. So it's helping with our evolution and our growth, and it's doing it through societal upheaval. Probably the biggest thing that's getting upheaval right now, how we feel about guns, how we feel about war, and how we feel about weapons. And it's also about healing our inner child. And this breaks my heart because children are being targeted in wars and in these mass violence events. So what it's doing for us is it's allowing us to heal our inner child and letting these wounds surface and release so that we don't dump them on other people, so that we don't take them out on other people. So this is what Pluto is doing. It also rules viruses and pandemics. So we got this going on until October 8th. So mark your calendar. And this is where I love tracking what goes on in the world, because it's like, oh, that's such a Pluto retrograde that's happening. And then all my friends are like, what is she talking about? And it's like, it's a Pluto retrograde thing. Look it up. It's very powerful to have this knowledge. All right, tomorrow we end Mercury retrograde. So this one was a little weird because we started in Gemini and the retrograde is ending in Taurus tomorrow. So this is, you know, Mercury retrograde messes with communication and with travel, but this time was really telling us to chill out, to reflect, to understand that words can either heal or cut. So a lot of hot button social issues like the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial verdict that came in yesterday. Oh my God, I mean, I work in the world of domestic violence through my nonprofit. And what I'm seeing on social media, it's like, turn that off. It's like people are having a meltdown. But it's creating these hot button social issues, a lot of debates. And so the big thing is self-care and introspection. So we're in this until tomorrow, okay? All right, Saturn on, let's see, the 4th, that's Saturday. Wow, it's Thursday. So on Saturday, June 4th, we go into Saturn retrograde, and that goes until October 23rd. So Saturn is known as the Lord of Karma. It just makes me nervous saying that because karmic debts get sorted out, okay? So if you've been doing good, expect rewards. And if you haven't been doing the work, the stuff that you know that you need to do, expect some harsh lessons. It's also a time to review boundaries and discipline in your life, discipline for yourself and your responsibilities. Saturn is all about social order. So we're gonna have an interesting summer. Let's just put it that way. With Pluto and Saturn in retrograde, transformation and social order, woo, it's gonna be interesting. All right, at the end of the month, Neptune goes into retrograde. Neptune spends about 14 years in each astrological sign, and it is the master of illusion. But when it is in retrograde, the veil over our eyes that protects us from the realities of the world gets removed. So we get faced with some very harsh, painful realities. But this is where spiritual ascension, moving out of our ego identity and finding deep meaning in life, that's when it happens. Okay? So don't be afraid of Neptune, because this is where you can really raise yourself up. All right, Chiron. A lot of people don't know about Chiron. We talk about this in the Sacred Shift. It's really important to know this. I don't have time to go into it. But Chiron is all about your inner wounds. Okay. So when it goes retrograde, which it's going to go in July for basically half the year, you become more introspective so that you can actually remove the blocks that are blocking you from healing, blocking you from your best life. Okay, Chiron is all about your wounds. So it's giving you an opportunity to heal. End of July to November, Jupiter goes retrograde. Jupiter sees the blocks that are in your way. It wants you to grow. It wants you to pursue opportunities and allow them to come to you. So when Jupiter goes retrograde, that's what Jupiter is doing. It's like, hello, here, you asked for this. I'm literally giving it to you on a platter. Why are you ignoring it? Why are you not seeing it? I'm already sensing the Jupiter retrograde energies are here in a big way. I'm already sensing it. A lot of opportunities available. So this is good. I love Jupiter retrograde. It's like, can you be retrograde all the time? Because it's a great energy. All right. And then we have Uranus retrograde, and it is going to retrograde in its least favorite sign of Taurus. So Uranus rules divine awakening, accelerated transformation, revolution, rebellion, big changes, structures falling, like structure in how we invest our money, in where we get our food. Okay. It's all about inner freedom, that we are more free than we think we are. Okay. And it's really going to push some buttons here, but it's all about finding that inner freedom and bringing rapid innovation and change and helping us live authentically inspired. It's really going to be majorly transformational if your sun sign is Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, or Aquarius. Yay, I'm a Leo. Great. Bring it on. Bring it on along with everything else. Sure, I can take a little bit more. Not a problem. So if you're one of those, just embrace it. Just embrace it. All right, then Mercury goes back retrograde in September into October. Then we have Mars retrograde. So Mars brings out frustrations and provocations. So be cautious in communicating, but it's a lesson in learning what triggers us, because then you can heal it. If you're triggered by something, that's something that needs to be healed. Okay? We shouldn't be triggered by anything. We should be able to look at stuff and say, oh, wow, oh, that's too bad. What can I do to help? And not like get all like, oh my gosh, like I need to go and no, that doesn't help anybody. Okay. So this is what Mars is doing. It's helping us identify our triggers. And then Mercury goes retrograde again. So these are things that influence us. And even you don't have to understand astrology. I mean, I've been studying astrology for over 35 years. But you don't need to know the ins and outs. But when you just have an idea that, hey, something's going on, you don't feel like you're falling apart. You don't feel like you're a big weirdo, like, oh my gosh, I'm literally losing my mind. No, you're not. It could be a Schumann resonance. It could be a solar flare. It could be one of the planets in retrograde teaching you a lesson. And all of a sudden you become very objective in your life. And it's like, oh, that's what's going on. And that's where the healing begins. All right, let's talk about eclipse season. This also influences us. So we just came out of a partial solar eclipse and a total lunar eclipse. Here's the thing, we're not out of it. These energies last for 6 months. Oh, and then we go into another partial solar eclipse and a total lunar eclipse. So what these do is they really, eclipses get our attention and tell us something needs to change. Something needs to change. They challenge our mindsets and our lifestyle, challenge our possessions, our resources, our finances, our safety, our security. People are freaking out that we're going into a recession. Okay, whether we do or not, you know what? We've lived through them before. We're going to be just fine. Like, don't freak out about it. Don't freak out about it. Flow with the energies. When you freak out, when you worry, when you get nervous, you are the square peg trying to jam into a round hole. It's not going to work, and all it's going to do is aggravate you. In eclipse season, you get lessons about finding strength and, you know, changing what needs to be changed, you know, letting go of anger, letting go of negative energies. I love eclipses. Oh my gosh, you're going to find me on the beach with my crystals doing my eclipse dance in the water. It's amazing. So I encourage you to really celebrate those. All right, and then, before we get to this, one last thing, the Lion's Gate. If you've never heard of this, it's on August 8th of every year. The 8/8 portal is called the Lion's Gate. And what this is it's just a very powerful infusion of energies that come in, and they last for like 5 months. They usually last through the end of the year. So if you're very intrigued by this, I mean, I'm a Leo. So of course the Lion's Gate is the day after my birthday. I'm all about the Lion's Gate. It is a real burst of amazing, amazing energy. Think of a lion roaring. There's a lot of people on YouTube that do Lion's Gate meditations and ceremonies, but this is another thing that really influences us, but it's a very, very positive energy. These are all the things, when you understand what's going on and can take them in, you just flow with what's going on a lot better, and you just don't get as rattled. All right, let's keep going. I know I'm diving into deep stuff, but another thing that is happening is we are shifting dimensions, and this has freaked out a lot of people that I know, but there's nothing to freak out about. Everything that I just talked about is part of the energy shift, shifting us into another dimension. And when I talk about these higher dimensions, they are spiritual realms of shared consciousness. All of us share a consciousness on this planet. And yeah, I'd love to know in the chat, has anybody ever heard, you know, that we're shifting from third to fifth dimension? I see in the comments, why are people freaking about this coming Monday? I have no idea. I haven't seen anything like that. If you want to send me something, but again, nobody should be freaking out about anything. That is the energy that leads to violence. Okay, we have an opportunity to say, this is all okay. This is all okay. We're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. I mean, gosh, how long has humanity been here? A very long time. So yeah, I would, yeah, I haven't seen anything like that. But anyway, getting back to the shifting dimensions, you know, it may sound like a lot of woo-woo, and, you know, maybe it is. But let me explain what these dimensions are, and you can decide for yourself. So it's talked about that when 1% of humans ascend into the next dimension, like they're still here, they've still got a body, it's just they ascend their consciousness to a higher level. When 1% of humans do it, then the earth will ascend too. So that's like 78 million people. That's pretty powerful. And frankly, it's already happened, and it's continuing to happen because a lot of people woke up in the pandemic. And they're using the word woke. They're using it in a different way, but in the spiritual world, we're like, we use that word all the time. People are waking up, literally. They're waking up and they're seeing things. And the ascending is of your mental body, your consciousness, your thoughts, your beliefs, and how you view the world. Now, our bodies are also being asked to ascend by giving us these cellular upgrades. But when we ascend with the earth, because she is ascending, the Schumann Resonance is showing us that. She's raising her vibration. When we go with her, we feel better. When we don't, oh, we don't feel good. So we have all of these different dimensions. Some people believe that we have 7 dimensions, some 12 dimensions. I just want to talk about 3 because we currently live in the 3rd dimension. And the 3rd dimension, here's the short story. It's where time is linear. Okay, 5 minutes ago was in the past, 5 minutes in the future is in the future. Like time is linear, right? We have dates, we have calendars. That was all man-made, by the way. Energy doesn't work like that. 3rd dimensional energy is duality, right and wrong. Okay, this is the law, and this is what you can do. It's judgment. You're right, I'm wrong. That was backwards, right? I'm right, you're wrong. It's judgment, it's rigid rules. I think about like my parents and my grandparents. Oh my gosh, they're like, what do you mean that people are having children without being married? Because in their world, you go to school, you get educated, you get married, you have a child, you work until you're 62, you retire, you die. It's linear. And now people are like, well, I'm brilliant. I really don't need a college degree. I'm just going to start a multi-million-dollar company. And I don't need a husband. I'm going to have a baby. And my 3 best friends, we're all going to do the same thing. And we're going to live in a house together and basically raise our kids in this communal environment. And maybe I'll get married when I'm 60, you know, after the kids are gone. And I'm going to change my job like every year. I'm going to change careers probably 8 times in my lifetime. Oh my gosh, my parents and grandparents' generation are like, y'all are crazy. Okay, because they live in a rigid rules society. That's 3rd dimension, rigid rules. You do things a certain way. And you're probably laughing because you're like, yeah, it sounds like my parents. But 3rd dimension is all about duality and separateness. And it's aggressive, a lot of aggression. I mean, this has been a planet of wars since the beginning of time. And to move out of this dimension, you have to work on your emotional baggage. You have to work on fear. And we're meant to learn about synchronicities and intuition, and that time is really just an illusion. And we're meant to learn that we can create with our thoughts. And as you start to wake up, you may start to feel angry and agitated and fidgety and icky and overwhelmed and sad and helpless and reactive and headaches and body aches, because you're literally, your body is trying to keep up with what you're learning. And you start asking a lot of deep questions. The 4th dimension is when the heart really opens. It's a spiritual awakening. You understand the need for community. You understand non-physical realities. Like all this stuff that I'm talking about is really non-physical. It's all energy. And you start to understand it. It's like, wow, this makes sense. This is like filling in a lot of the puzzle pieces. And even during crisis, you can really feel centered and uplifted to help, not complain, to help, because you know that there's a greater source of energy and you're able to master your thoughts and your feelings. You can manifest a lot faster. You're more intuitive, you know, because you've worked through your emotions rather than being in a victim mentality all the time. And you may spend more time alone reflecting, and you get really clear on your values, and you may change your work and do things that you're more passionate about. You even change what you eat. You eat lighter. You eat what I call kinder. A lot of people are becoming vegan and vegetarians. They're adopting what we call a kinder diet because they feel better about it. It's kinder on themselves. And you may be sensitive to sound and light and other people, and you lose track of time, but you know that everything is connected, and you see synchronicities, and you know that you manifest from your thoughts. This is 4th dimension because you're waking up. 5th dimension is when you raise your consciousness very high. You still have your 3rd dimensional body, but manifesting is almost instant because you really understand thoughts create things, and you're connected to all. Like everything that's happening in Ukraine and all these mass violence impact us. Absolutely. That energy goes through the wave and goes around the earth and it impacts us. So we realize that by us being peaceful and loving and seeing the freedoms that we have rather than complaining and moaning and groaning about every little slight that happens in the world, we see the beauty in all. We see evil, but we send healing to it because it's bubbling up to be released once and for all. People in fifth dimension stay out of these third dimensional struggles, especially on social media. Their body is getting lighter. It's becoming a crystalline body rather than a carbon body. I'm ready for that. Film a body with crystals. And you start creating with energy and lights and shapes. I mean, the explosion of energy healers and people working with crystals and essential oils is huge. So all of this stuff is happening. And we are naturally going along with it. It's not conscious. It's not like you wake up and say, I think I'm going to be fourth dimensional today. No, you just know by how you feel and how you respond. You know where you are. Okay. This is what all of this does to us. It's helping us evolve because the earth is evolving. All right. Pretty heavy stuff, right? Pretty cool. All right. What can you do? You know, I always got solutions. All right, here's the thing. You have to drink water. I'm actually going to take a drink of water right now because it keeps the energy moving in your body. Drink a lot of water. Half your body weight in ounces. Seriously, if you're not doing that, please. It is so important for many reasons. Give yourself quiet time, meditation time, prayer time every day, every day, every day. Settle into a routine that helps you focus on your inner voice and your inner guidance, because it's literally going to tell you how you feel, and you're going to be very connected to all this stuff that I've been talking about. Work on your emotional wounds. You know, learn about where Chiron is in your astrological chart so that you know what you're working on. This is really important. We've been talking about this the last month or two in the Sacred Shift. Address your shadow, okay? Our shadow is coming out. Our shadow side is our wounds, okay? We need to heal our wounds or we're just doomed to replicate the wounds over and over again. The shadow comes out in your weaknesses and your self-sabotage. It comes out in your mindset. Are you abundantly mindset or are you lack? Do you see the problems in everything? Do you see the opportunities or lack of opportunities? Do you see glass half full, or you literally have no glass? Some of this is ancestral that we're working on. Yay, lucky us. But it's coming out, and I see a lot of it in shaming on social media, and people are just showing their wounds. That's what they're doing. You don't need to watch it, okay? I unfollow a lot of people. It's like, I don't want to watch that. I don't want to watch their wounds coming out on social media, especially when they're not willing to help themselves. Whatever triggers you now is what needs to be healed. Recognize it and heal it, okay? Increase your intuition. This actually comes from detoxing your entire body, your physical, your emotional, your mental, and your spiritual body. And if you're still eating junk processed food, your intuition is going to stay quiet. But when you can cleanse and detox your body, mind, and spirit, you're just going to know stuff. You're going to be very intuitively guided. That's very fourth dimensional and fifth dimensional stuff. Work with your oils, work with your crystals. I'm going to give you some ideas. All right. Discern your own truth. Be very discerning about where you get information from. I mean, even this, I want you to go and check it out. Don't just believe me. I never want anybody to blindly believe me. Go check it out. Go do your research. Be discerning about social media posts. Oh my gosh, so much on social media is just not true. It drives me crazy. You know, so liberally use the unfollow, unfriend button until people wake up, okay? Because if you're watching all of that low energy stuff, it's going to slow you down, very much slow you down. Be aware of what's going on and shine your light, you know, remaining as positive as you can. Yes, you're going to have dark days. Can't be positive all the time. Okay. But shine your light. You know, we're not burying our heads in positivity, knowing this dark energy that's out there. You don't banish the dark. You turn the light on, right? You walk into a dark room, you turn the light on. We have to shine our light. That's what we have to do. When there is shaming on social media, that is old negative energy just trying to stay alive. Don't engage. I literally just unfriend people. I unfriended like 20 people today. It's like, first of all, I don't know you. That was really super negative, what you were saying. Not interested. I don't want to see it. Words don't persuade, but sharing your daily life persuades. Shine your light. Don't shine your pain. Your pain is for you to work on. Okay? Shine your light so that others can have some hope. You know, express your authentic higher self. You know, share your life, share the good parts, you know, help to change the energy, inspire other people. You know, social media is not a psychiatrist. It's not where we go and dump our problems, because when you do that, you have now impacted everybody else that either heard it or saw it. Be very careful of that. We are meant to work on our inner wounds ourselves. It's not meant to be dumped on other people, okay? Express your authentic self, all right? Be you on social media. Be you, okay? Engage in earthing. Get your feet on the ground. That is very, very powerful for connecting with the earth and riding her Schumann resonance. You're going to be able to ride it so much better. Being in nature is going to help you with the rising energies. And then clear the energy in your home with oils and crystals, all right? So let's talk about that. And this is one of my favorite sayings, you know, speak and pray to the solution, not the problem. If you're stuck and if things are going wrong, you're probably just still in the third dimensional energy. And so, you know, you have some work to do, you raise yourself up. And because manifesting is so strong right now, if you're focused on the problems, you're going to give them energy. If you focus on the good things, you're going to raise your vibe, and that's speaking to the solution. We can't solve a problem with the same old dark energy that created it. Shining a light is how you change. When you speak and pray to the solution, that's when change happens. And part of this fifth dimension is getting control of your emotions and thoughts. You know, what you are manifesting in your life gives you an idea of exactly what you're thinking and what you're talking about. Okay, it's being extra conscious and intentional about this. All right. All right, let's talk essential oils. All right, these are my favorite oils for this shift that we're in so that you can thrive. All right, so just in general for this whole shift, it's like, okay, this is a lot of information. Transformation oil, number one, if you do not have this oil, get that oil in your order this month. It's only the 2nd of June. Get that oil. That oil says it all. It is for those moments when the little voice is telling you you're crazy, you're not worthy, what are you doing? This cleans out all those old crappy emotions and beliefs that block your way, all right? It transforms old belief systems and the poverty mindset of I can't. Transformation is amazing. And the Divine Destiny Kit that has the 3 oils in it, when you're ready to stop playing small and shine your unique gifts, when you've reached a high enough level of frustration that you're ready to live your life on your terms, but then you freak out and you stop yourself. This is a kit that gets you back on track, okay? It has 3 oils to open your heart and mind, to transform your thoughts, and to set your creative motion in action. All right, help working on your inner self. Sacred frankincense. This is a higher frequency than the regular frankincense because it has higher alpha pinene in it. And this is all about connection with soul and spirit going back thousands of years. It moves you out of an ego-driven lifestyle, gets you very soul connected. The Awaken oil opens you up to your potential. It helps you with meditation. It helps you with visualization and manifesting so that you can make the personal changes to manifest what you want, to literally ride all this energy. Okay. Healing your emotional wounds, Rose. Okay. Expensive, but she's worth it every penny because she's a deep heart healer, deep into forgiveness, helps with the unity, the fifth dimensional unity, and releasing fears, which is necessary to get out of third dimension. And you just become whole. I mean, you just feel like a whole person again. The release oil, you know, this is really good for shadow work. You know, name the trigger, name what needs to be released, and release it. It helps with sacred rage. That's its own presentation. Sacred rage, there is such a thing. All right, to raise your intuition, I like Roman chamomile because it brings an inner calmness and stillness so that you can hear your intuition. So with all of these, you got to smell them. It's not just topical application. You need to smell them. That's the big thing. And then the Envision oil helps you envision a new life going forward, not going back to the past, not, you know, I want to get back to normal. There is no such thing. There is no such thing. Whatever that is, it's gone. It helps you envision your new future. Discerning truth. Woo, okay, we got 3 here. Lemon gives you clarity and thought. When you're triggered by something, smell lemon because it releases the old patterns. Gary's Light. Ooh, this blend was created to help us with discerning truth. It brings us into spiritual connection. It opens up our mind. It's very protective. This is a great oil. And Rise Above. I love, it's what I use. I keep it right here. It's what I used at the start of the webinar. It creates an environment where you can transform negative thoughts into positive thoughts and motivating intentions, and opens you up to new ideas. You know, it can transform old thoughts that hold you back and rise you up into new ideas. Helps you with that fifth dimensional energy shift. To shine your light takes bravery to do that. It really does. Higher unity connects you with your higher mind for your highest truth and your best guidance. It reconnects your heart like a GPS system, and you know exactly where you are based on how you feel. It helps you know your truth and guides you in the right direction. And valor is oil of courage. That is essential for shining your light. And then just tapping into your authentic higher self and living your authentic higher self. Cassia. This is a very underrated oil, and it's amazing because it helps you connect with who you really are at a soul level. That you're really a free being. You have a soul path to live, and you're here to help others with their path. And then the highest potential blend helps you connect with your highest self. It builds confidence, and it releases limiting beliefs and inspires you, and it gathers your most powerful energy to open you up to your potential. Pretty powerful, right? These are amazing oils. And then for crystals, okay, you can find 1,000 different crystals that people recommend for this awakening. And my philosophy is work with the crystals that you have or the ones that you're drawn to. You know what you're drawn to when you see it in the store and you want to hold it and can't stop thinking about it. All right. You all know that I have a private crystal store, so if you need help, let me know. But rose quartz, this is all about unconditional love, getting from third to fourth to fifth dimension, because if you don't love yourself, that impacts every relationship out there, and it's going to impact your ascension. Kunzite, it's the stone of emotion. Some people call it the woman's stone because it's all about feminine empowerment, and it connects to universal love. Like there's a bigger energy of love here. It connects you to it, and it brings you an energy of belonging. Carnelian with malachite. Ooh, you put these two together and you are clearing emotional baggage. Brace yourself for a deep emotional purge. It is good. You want to put the malachite right between your heart and your solar plexus, and put the carnelian on your sacral chakra. Let her rip. It's going to be awesome. I would also recommend putting a rose quartz or a kunzite on your heart to soften the release. All right, amethyst, very high vibrational yet grounding. And it's very protective as you're connecting with your higher self, your higher energies, your higher consciousness, and just helps you stay focused. Azurite, this connects your third eye intuition with your crown. So it's all about intuitive development and raising your consciousness, newer, higher perspectives. You know, it's because we can't solve a problem from the same energy that created it. We have to have a higher perspective. We literally have to look down on it and say, oh, that's what I need to do. That's what azurite does. And then clear quartz, okay, whether you want to go for a Tibetan quartz, a Himalayan quartz, a Lemurian quartz, you pick your quartz. My latest one is Colombian quartz. Holy moly, is that stuff amazing. And I also have some alpine quartz literally in the mail to me today. I'm going to be testing that out. But these are all about when you're feeling good, they're going to amplify you. When you don't feel good, they're going to raise you up. Clear quartz all over the place. You need to have a ton of that stuff, okay? Because it will literally raise you up and raise your vibration. And then labradorite takes all of these great spiritual energies that are out there and they ground them here so that you can experience them on Earth. So labradorite is very transformational. You know, it reveals truth and it really awakens your intuition. All right. I want y'all to close your eyes. Okay? Put your pencils down. I want you to close your eyes. I'm going to ask you some questions. And I believe you all are muted. I want you to say yes if any of these resonate with you, okay? You have goals and dreams that are stuck, and you know you need to take flight because your soul depends on it. You are lost, and you're questioning everything. You have worked all of the techniques that you have been taught, but they're not moving you forward. You are feeling uncentered, ungrounded, unclear, uncertain of your next step on your path ahead. You're feeling unwell, imbalanced, depleted, drained, overwhelmed, angry, depressed, unmotivated, uncomfortable with the negative energies that are around you and within you. You have a yearning in you, but lack the action and the clarity to bring it to life. You know the energy of our times is challenging you to shift, but you're not sure how to do it. You know that you're an intention-driven person who's ready to drop the excuses and shift into your highest potential. You're ready to understand and come into alignment with the energy shift. You are ready to embrace your goals and be energetically aligned for success. How many did you say yes to? Because this is the sort of stuff that we talk about in the sacred shift. All right, let me talk about that and then we will come to an end and I'll take some questions. This is what we talk about. Each month has a theme. Each month I go through what's happening with all the planets, all the retrogrades, all the eclipses. You learn about seasonal energies. There's an energy for each month. January is very different than July. Very, very different in what we should be doing and how we should be living our life. Very different in how we move and exercise. Very different in how we cleanse the body. This is why you never aim to lose weight on January 1st. It won't work. You aim to lose weight starting in the spring. We talk about this. We talk about seasonal foods to help you feel your best and flow with these energies. And I give you healthy recipes. We talk about the chakras and books and oracle cards and oils and crystals and guided meditations and affirmations. I mean, it's literally everything that you need that is wrapped up in one course that's very concise, so that you're spending your time wisely and not adding to a schedule where you may already feel busy. So if you are inclined, if you are welcome to join the Sacred Shift at any time, okay? I have quarterly memberships. I have annual memberships. We meet twice a month. One is all the education. It's the first Sunday of the month. Third Wednesday of the month is questions and coaching and sharing information. Once a quarter, you get a private coaching session to go deep into what you need help with. We do quarterly seasonal change ceremonies. So in a couple of weeks, we're going to be having our summer solstice ceremony. There's recordings, there's workbooks that you download. You get free access to the 12 series body system wellness classes that I have taught, as well as the year of well-being classes that I'm currently teaching this year that other people pay for, but it's free for the Sacred Shift. And then we have a private Facebook page. And like I said, we have a quarterly membership and an annual. And the annual membership, oh my gosh, you save so much money. It's like 40% discount. And if you are in my essential oil team, the Permastay Oils team, you get 50% off. That's just my gift there. But for all of you that are watching this, there's a 10% discount code. Just use the code 10 off, no space in between, 10 off. The discount ends June 19th. Why June 19th? Because on June 20th, we're going to have our summer solstice ceremony. So I figure if you want to get in, you want to get in for that. And then even if you sign up for a year, it goes, not a calendar year, it goes for a whole 365 days. And I mean, it's a really fun group, and there's quite a few people watching that are in the Sacred Shift. And if you have anything you want to write in the comments, feel free to do that. I literally have not paid them to say anything. But if all of this intrigues you and you're like, yeah, I'm kind of falling apart, like, I want to feel better. I want to do better. Like, I want better for my life, and I don't know where to start. And I feel kind of cranky, and physically I feel like crap, and I'm angry all the time, and I don't know what's going on. This is a group that you're going to want to hang out with. So I want to make that offer to you. No pressure. If it's your thing, awesome. We will welcome you with open arms. If not, I hope what you got tonight is transformative. That's my goal. I want to give you what you need right now to feel better. All right. And I have other classes coming up. All right. So if you're still struggling with your vision for this year, the Visioning for 2022 class is available on demand, and that'll walk you through my goal setting system that took me, 12 years to tweak, but you can get that. I think it's like $25. Okay. It's really amazing. The Oily Crystal Summer Energies class is coming up. This is free to my oil team. It's free to the Sacred Shift. It's free to the Crystal Cluster. If you're not in any of those 3 classes, there is just a small fee for it. If you're in my area, I have my Integrated Energy Therapy Angelic Healing classes coming up in September. I also have all my crystal classes coming up, and those are the dates. And this is the last time crystal classes will be taught this year. I only teach them 3 times a year. All right, let's take some questions. I am going to go ahead and turn the recording off. And wow, okay, I got all that done in an hour and 10 minutes. Whew. That was a lot of information. So thank you for paying attention. And for those who are watching the recording, thank you so much.